Hi, this is Brandon, and welcome to Tansson TV Plus.
And I'm Mom. Thank you for joining us again today.
Yeah, we always love doing this. And Mom, what show are we speaking about here today?
We're talking about Saved by the Bell, but not Saved by the Bell, the original, the Saved by the Bell Part 2. Brandon, what years did this come out?
So yeah, this came out November 2020 to December of 2021, a year and 5 days.
Wow. Wow. All right, like I said, once more, thank you for joining us again today because this is another first episode Friday. And once more, since it is September, we're going to keep with our same theme of school series. It is helpful if you have seen the original Saved by the Bell. It's helpful because you at least will actually know some of the main characters who are mentioned and know the importance of them being mentioned in the second series. However, at the same time, the second series can stand alone. But here is the link between the first and the second series. First of all, we have Zach Morris. Zach Morris was the original character in the main series. In this new series, he's not a main character. However, he sets the basis or tone of the series because Zach is now the governor of California. And one of the acts that he actually enacted was to cut $10 billion in education. And by doing this, that means, of course, they had to close certain schools in California, and so he decided actually he and the help of people who were kind of at a conference helped him to decide that some of the schools that were going to remain open, that the students would now attend these schools, and these schools were schools that were actually doing fine academically and financially. And so many of the students in one of the lower communities was going to attend Bayside High, which is the school where Zach originally attended when he was younger. And so that is truly the basis for this show, is that there's a new group of students who are going to go to Bayside. Along with Zach, he did marry Kelly. That was in the original show also, and they are still married, and they have a son, and they have a son named Mac, and Mac attends Bayside. We also have two other characters from the original series who are in the new series. We have Jesse Spano, who's now a doctor and who is the guidance counselor at Bayside High School. And then we also have Mario Lopez's character, Slater. We also have Slater, AC Slater here, and he is a PE teacher at the school at Bayside. And so they do. And what they've done nice about the series is that even though those characters are there, the characters really are centering around the students. They just happen to be on the outside. To kind of guide things along. And so the students are introduced very early. I mean, we know their names really early. We know that one of the girls who's coming to the school, that they're all sophomores, at least they're concentrating on sophomores, that she wants to be the student body president, and she was running for that at her old school. And when she goes to Bayside, she wins that election. Now, she didn't quite do it on her own. Matt kind of helped her with that, but she does win student body election. We meet someone who's one of the girls who's going to be a football player. We meet one of the young gentlemen who wants to be a singer, but they make the connection because there is a buddy system, according to the guidance counselor, for the students who are coming in and for the students who are already there. And so, because they buddy them up, they've already made a connection between both of the schools. And so that's how they're able to blend the characters together. And so in this first episode, we're introduced to all of this, and we're introduced to, and because they buddy them up, we learn about them individually also in the pairs that they're buddied up in. And so that, in essence, is the first episode. It's just really everyone getting to learn each other.
Well, Mom, of course, thank you so much for the synopsis.
You are welcome, Brandon.
Yeah, and of course, getting to know each other. I mean, that's the basis of many of these series premieres and pilot episodes. But it's really interesting diving into this one just because, for Saved by the Bell, while this is a revival of the original, that there just been so many different variations of this franchise. And so to see it come back yet again is certainly an interesting feat.
It is, and I'm not going to age myself, but I did watch the original, and so I was close to their age as it was going through the original series. So it is nice to see how they've kind of let them grow as characters.
Yeah, and so to provide a little bit of the history for it, so the original franchise was from the series Good Morning Miss Bliss, which was retooled into Saved by the Bell, and then it had a spinoff, the new class, but then the original came back as the college years, and now we're back again with yet another one. And I believe there was a movie or two.
Yes, there were, and it is nice to see the children of them in here also. As I said, I've already mentioned Mac, but Jesse has a child in here also, and his name is Jamie, and so she has a son. So it was interesting to see how they incorporated that.
Yeah, and overall, I'll ask. So you mentioned, of course, that you've seen the original, and I presume and likely most of the iterations.
I have not seen the new class, but I've seen the iterations of the original.
Yeah, and for me, this is the only version that I have seen outside of theme songs, and so yeah. But I would say that for me, it's really interesting seeing it because I can definitely see where they're trying to tie the connection between the old one and the new one. And it's interesting that they're using the old characters to actually introduce the new ones.
Yes, they are. They are, and done very nicely too.
Yeah, and even the children of the original characters, while they are here, they're not actually the main characters per se, but instead are sort of the Bayside buddies of the new ones. And so the new main character, I guess, of this one is Daisy.
It is, and it's interesting that they've taken the perspective of having the female being the lead, because in the other show it really was Zach who was the lead. So they switched it up a little bit, um, but once more, nice job.
Yeah, and I kind of like that with Daisy, we're able to see her determination and and that she's really trying to fight for the student body and for real change in representation. Whereas, for instance, Max and Lexi, they're sort of more in it for themselves and for the free parking spot, which I guess symbolizes what Zach Morris was doing with trying to. Uh, who became governor simply to fight a $75 parking ticket.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does show that's where their priorities are. That you can see that Mac is only concerned about a parking space sitting up front, and I believe in the original Zach was concerned about that also. And one of the things I thought was funny that I got, but of course you wouldn't know, is that when um, when Daisy pulled out her phone, that was the original phone from the original series.
Well, that's definitely, like I say, interesting to know. I noticed it, of course, from the theme songs I've seen the original, but yeah, again, I've never seen the original.
Hmm. Yes, I'll have to show you the original, Brandon.
But yeah, but I did want to ask too. Speaking of the original, is we do get to see sort of the future of these characters from the original, and so overall, do you agree with where they have progressed over the course of the span between the original iterations, I should say plural, of the original, and then now?
Where they ended up at is not a surprise. I mean, it does not surprise. Zach has always been one to kind of do things a little differently and support himself, and so that does not surprise me the way they kind of portrayed him. The way that AC Slater is portrayed does not surprise me either because he was really into sports when he was on the original show. So the fact that he's a PE teacher does not surprise me. And Jessie, the fact that she's a doctor because she was the smart one out of the group, that does not surprise me either. And but she also wants to do well for other people. So the fact that she's a guidance counselor, that doesn't surprise me either.
But that's definitely good that you believe that they stay true to that. And I will say that I was laughing so hard at Governor Zach's backstory to his political career and how he ended up in a in his words, a $10 billion accident.
Yes, and all because he didn't want to pay a parking ticket.
Yeah, and just doing the exact same thing that was done last year, which is interesting because he said that this is his third, going on his fourth year as governor and running for re-election. So the fact that he's just doing the same thing from last year, I guess he's just adding on to his own mistakes.
Yes, yeah, he is. Zach's been known to make quite a few mistakes.
Well, that's certainly good to know. And so, Mom, overall, having seen this, like, would you continue watching this new iteration of the series, and what would you want to even see from it?
Yeah, I did watch from the from the new iteration. We did watch a few episodes, and then I stopped. And now, after watching it again, makes me want to go back and kind of watch some more of them, just to see how they kind of end up. I know it only lasted a year, basically 2 seasons, but I will go back and rewatch them.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering it's as you're saying, only 20 episodes. I think it'd be interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say rewatch, but no, watch to go through them. Just because I think we're always looking for new series, and just because we at least know that it already has a defined beginning and end, and that it's not that long. I think this is something that we could easily do like over another extended weekend.
Yep, we sure can. Sure can.
But yeah, and I did want to briefly mention too, as as a very little connection here, is that we do see Daisy on the phone speaking to her mom, and her mom is actually portrayed by the George's ex-wife on Lopez versus Lopez.
Yes. And then, of course, I made the connection a little bit to Franco Iberio, who was in, not in per se, but one of the behind the scenes people of AP Bio from last week.
Yeah, and he's one of the primary executive producers of this version of Saved by the Bell alongside the previous versions.
Yes.
But yeah, but I did actually want to take us a moment a little bit before we close this out to, sort of wrap this all together for our back to school theme.
Yes. I was surprised, Brandon, that we were able to find so many things that are linked between the 4 episodes that we did see. One you brought up was the principal, and the role that the principal plays in all of the shows. They are a dominant force because we have seen some shows, and it might just be the 4 shows that we picked, where when we're watching some of the teacher school shows, where it really is just about the teacher in the class. This particular on these 4 that we selected, the principal does play a primary role in all 4 of the series. Um, the Say by the Bell doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily the teacher per se that's concentrated on, because there's not a common teacher for them, with the exception of Mario Lopez being a PE teacher, but he's not a core teacher, kind of like the other shows.
Yeah, whereas the other ones were, we had thus far 2 social studies teachers and a AP Bio teacher, whereas
Yeah.
this one, like you said, Mario Lopez's character, for him, Slater, that he is, the PE teacher or coach, but we don't even see him really in action until like the last couple scenes.
Yeah, so this show, which differs from the other ones, it is purely student led, and not like the other ones that are teacher led and students also. This one is truly a student led show.
Yeah, whereas the first two, head of the class and for Welcome Back,
Cotter.
Cotter, that I think those ones did a really great job of balancing, student and teacher. AP Bio, of course, is very much teacher, whereas I think this is the complete opposite and very much student.
Yes, yes. Oh my God. Yeah, it is. It is very much. This one is very much student based, and it is nice to see a student based run show.
Yeah, and I'd personally be very interested in seeing, I mean, the direction of this. Like I said, right now, it seems that Daisy's the main character, but is she the main, sort of the main character, or is it going to be more of an ensemble? I think that's yet to be seen based off of just this first episode.
Yes, we'll have to dive some more to kind of see where they go with it.
But yeah, but this is the pilot episode, of the series from Universal Television, and yeah, but overall, I'm pretty, intrigued to see, how the series progresses. Maybe we'll update you if we decide to continue watching it.
Yeah, or maybe we'll go back and watch the original, and then we can kind of touch base on this later.
Definitely. But would you say that, what were your thoughts overall about doing this theme for back to school?
Actually, I liked it, Brandon, because we had a harder time trying to find 4 shows that were both school related. And This one kind of came up a little later. Um, and of course, I could think of some others, but they wouldn't stand out for anyone else. But we did have a hard time trying to find just four school related shows, and so I'm happy with the shows that we did select.
Yeah, and I'm surprised we were able to do, for instance, two older shows, 1970s and 80s, and then two from modern day. One at the end of 2010s and the other in the 2020s.
Yes, I was glad to see that we were able to get a variety from each of the years.
Yeah, and we're slowly, getting outside of our comfort zone with, more shows from the modern era. But I think it's been a lot of fun, and I feel like we've kind of personally missed out a little bit on some of these modern shows.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start watching them now.
But yeah, like I said, but Mom, I always enjoyed doing this, and I'm excited to see what we do for October.
Yep, stay tuned for our October shows. All right, make sure you subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Yes, definitely enjoying the conversation, and I look forward to seeing you then.
All right, bye bye, everybody.